Friends, I thought it would be fun to come on here and sorry, brushes are falling. Revisit old favorites from before last year, specifically 2023. And I went through my list, picked up those items from my own collection. And the reason why I think it's fun doing these types of videos, especially by some of your suggestions, is because psychologically, it's nice to revitalize our relationship with older makeup that we used to love. And we probably still do, but because it's been lost in the sauce, we purchased new makeup recently, and they kind of get buried into the bottom of our drawer, literally and also figuratively, right? And when we pick up these products that we used to love, it's like buying something new. I think it evokes similar emotions to when, or I speak for myself, when I buy new makeup, right? When we haven't used something for a long time, it's like, how come I stop using this? This is so beautiful. So this is a great way, I think, to ground myself if I am currently being tempted by the new. If you haven't seen my Will I Buy It video where I featured a lot of the spring releases from Dior, I settled on Tutu and Pink Mania. Those are the only two items in my basket right now, and I think I'll pull the trigger on those. Many of you had said that the lilac shade in the Glow Maximizer formula unfortunately is chunky and glittery. It sounds like it takes on a similar consistency to Pearl, which I personally do not own, but did hear that the Pearl shade is a different formula from the ones that I have and maybe others in the line, that finer pearl formula that doesn't have that same chunky texture. Therefore, sticking with Tutu because it sounds like that shade is more of that smooth pearl finish, and Pink Mania because one of you had said that the blue shade from Peach Mania is bleh. And maybe I was burned from the fact that the Backstage face palette that I was completely seduced by buying because of that blue shade ended up disappointing me. So I'm happy to know that maybe I could skip that with the eyeshadow quad. And my apologies for my voice. I'm still battling the post-cough cold that lingers every time. And it's just trying to get out of it. But anyway, that is not going to stop me from filming. And with that said, it's time for you to come in a little closer. That's enough. I applied moisturizer, and let me apply a little bit of Vaseline, and also let me slip in the house clip. Let's start with foundation. And in 2023, I awarded the Suqqu Foundation in shade 40 as best foundation of the year. Just so you know, I went on a slight rant in my Will I Buy It video concerning the new Hourglass Illusion foundation with the SPF. I went on and saying about how it's silly to combine SPF with makeup products just because their roles are on the complete ends of the spectrum. I forgot that this foundation does have SPF in it. It has SPF 30. However, this was sent to me by Suqqu Europe. It is PR. I didn't award this foundation, nor do I love it because of SPF. It's because of the shade, the color science, the texture, the fact that even if it does have SPF, because it is made in Japan, possibly the Japanese formula includes the filters that are just far more advanced and cosmetically elegant than the ones used here, where I feel it doesn't interfere with the complexion shade and the undertones of it, where it doesn't look just off. And that's why I absolutely adore this foundation. But again, I just wanted to put that out there because if you're hearing this rant or the rant I had in the video, you're like, Alicia, the Suqqu Foundation has SPF. Yes, I know. But let's slap this on, shall we? Where is my spatula? I gotta get the little spatula so we can get the foundation on. I'm thinking of possibly requesting another jar of this. I haven't encountered a foundation, a dedicated foundation, because for 2024, I awarded my LYS Skin Tint and Danessa Myricks Serum Skin, the Yummy Skin Serum, so many words, that cocktail that I've been combining, as well as the Lisa Eldridge tint. I like to mix that in, and recently I purchased the Dior stick. I still feel that the Suqqu foundation is better than the Dior stick. The Dior's a lovely texture, but the shade is off. There's just something off with that peachy undertone in 3.5N, where it appears like a mask on my face. I don't know what it is. I like the finish. The finish is nice for sure, and the fact that it's in a stick, and the fact that although it has fragrance, it wasn't so off-putting. It actually dissipated well, it didn't linger, and it didn't overwhelm my senses, so that is great. Have to go in with the recent Sonia G mini buffer, and boy, is this just a satisfying blend. I could use the sheer buffer, right, just to get in and around quickly, but using the mini I think is nice just to get a little more precise. But there is something about the Suqqu foundation that just blows everything else out for me, and why I don't feel inclined to buy another foundation except just request the same one, because everything from its texture, which I would classify as natural finish. Actually, if you were to compare this with the Black Jar foundation, that was a little more satin of a finish, where this leans a little more natural, almost bordering soft matte, but not really. I just think in terms of the texture and the shade, like when I put this on, it fuses with my skin tone. It almost enhances it. Whereas with the Dior stick, it just kind of covers it. That's what I feel is the fundamental difference between those two foundations, and why I enjoy the tints, because again, the tint nature of the product is to even out skin tone, soften the look of imperfections, and to enhance one's complexion. This is what I feel the Suqqu does, but with a little more coverage and just an exceptional shade match. Because yes, there might be a little golden in here, but it's not so golden that I look off. It definitely provides a little bit of that brightening that I wish 3.5N had in the Dior. And using the mini buffer is just a beautiful experience all around. Oh my gosh. Now for concealer, I awarded Lancome's Teint Idole in 2023 Best Concealer. Unfortunately, I could not locate, I think it was 350. It was the medium bisque? I can't recall. This is a lot more liquidy than my award or best of choice for 2024, Danessa's Lift and Flex. Definitely a lot more liquidy, but the thing is, with this shade, it does give me a little more of the brightening I need for under eye. Ultimately, I would probably combine the two, but you can't go wrong with Lancome. Lancome has been in the game for a long time, and in terms of their shades, and just look how, that's great. That's great. My goodness. Do I have to go back to the Lancome? This is what I'm saying. It's like I just bought a new concealer because I haven't used this in such a long time. This Renegade Twist is killing me. My apologies. One moment. Fantastic shade. Easy to blend. Although a little more liquidy than the Lift and Flex, it doesn't appear lightweight. It still covers, evens out the under eye area, and this shade in particular doesn't appear overly bright. It's just enough to brighten the under eye where it does not appear artificial. You know what I mean? For brows, I awarded my Benefit pencil, but recently awarded Suqqu to replace the Benefit. Now, I still love the Benefit because the thing is, even though the Suqqu is a thinner pencil and I get to draft and sketch with just a more liberal touch, this I like because it's more pigmented. It gets the brows on quickly. So I like each for different reasons. The thing is, you can't replace the Benefit pencil like with the refill like you can with the Suqqu pencil, because once this guy is done, then I have to buy an entirely new pencil. But I like to powder my hairs first, so why don't we go into the powder that I awarded in 2023 Best of. This is the Shiseido, specifically the Synchro Skin Invisible Loose Powder in Radiant. There is a matte version. I did not check to see if this product is still out there. And you know, Shiseido is another brand that's Japanese based as well. Love their foundation too. I think my shade in their foundation range, I hop between oak and maple depending on the formula, but you can't go wrong with this powder. It's so lightweight, and yes, like powdered silk. virtually. And this little guy, this was a Hakuhodo limited edition holiday brush in a set. I can't remember what year it was. I am so sorry, but I'm bringing this up because it reminds me of the new brushes from Wayne Goss. And it's funny, Wayne had said, because I watched his video, when he showed a brush that resembled this shape, it was a mixture between gray, blue squirrel and synthetic. I thought that an interesting combination. I've either heard of goat synthetic, blue squirrel goat, but I hardly, not that it's not out there, but rarely I've heard of blue squirrel and synthetic. And then he went on to say that it was a mistake. It's actually blue squirrel and goat hair. So I'm not entirely sure where he got the synthetic blue squirrel mix from. Maybe that exists in his other brushes for the new collection, but I'm not inclined to buy the entire set. There is an eye brush that has like a wedge and it appears to be a nice shape for one and done shadow look. So I have my radar on that brush, but not the cheek brush, because this I feel kind of mimics the shape of that cheek brush he showed on his video. It's one of the first ones. And from that same set, the Hakuhodo set, look at this I'm so sorry I dropped it so violently. Alicia, get a grip. Let's hop onto these brows again. This is so exciting. I love using makeup that, yes, that has not gone bad yet, but also has served as my favorites and still are fantastic pieces of makeup. The thing with the Benefit brow stick is that I have to be very careful because it lays down a lot of pencil at once. 3.5N has been my go-to shade, but I have not explored other possibilities. My favorite shade for the Suqqu is Sand because it is a true shade color for the brows, where 3.5N looks brown. I don't know if you could pick that up on camera. However, with the Suqqu pencil, I have to make sure that I powder my brows because I need that drier surface for better friction from the pencil to lay down color. That's the thing with that pencil. If the surface is too slick, then it's tough for the pencil point to leave behind any color because it's on the drier side. All right, brows are on. You can see how 3.5N kind of like made the overall color a little brown. It matches my turtleneck. Off to the next piece of makeup. We have entered the blush category. I don't think I awarded a bronzer in 2023. I was going through the list. Did I? Hold on. Oh my goodness, I did not award what released in 2023 for bronzer? A few things. It's all good because I have so many blush nominees, if you will, from that year. It was so tough to award a winner, but I'll let you know what I awarded. It was the Suqqu blush from their winter collection. No longer available, unfortunately, because it was a limited shade in 145. This just terracotta dream of a shade paired with this rose gold highlighter. Like, that's what I awarded the winner. But for 2023, we had Pat's blush bombs, we had the Gucci blushes, we had the 2 new additions to the Vital Surgeons Skin Spark blush balm, and we had Danessa's flushed balm flushed. There was a lot going on, so I thought, why don't we just put on as many as possible? I wanted to start with Pat's blush balm because I was dying to use it with the mini buffer. And one of my favorite shades are Sunkissed Seduction, as well as Flirtique. Flirtique is like a cool pink, which I think lovely for spring. And what I was thinking about when perusing through the Dior products, how wouldn't this be a lovely pair with Pink Mania? But let me stick to Sunkissed Seduction, which is more of like that terracotta shade. And very much this balm texture is, my skin welcomes it because it's definitely more on the drier side. So what I like to do is warm up the consistency behind my back of hand first, and then we'll strike it with the mini buffer and start to pounce around. And I'm using this as a base to not only add or provide a little more adherence to the cheekbone area-ish for any highlighter, but also as a color enhancer, right? It will serve as a backdrop for whatever I choose to apply, but even just that is lovely. It's just a nice dose wash of color. If I wanted to build it up, I could. And one of the ways to do that is to go directly from stick to brush and then concentrate that to where you want more color to appear. And I'm pouncing in. You could also strike as well. So we got a little more color there. And it's not going to appear as dewy on my skin because, again, it's on the drier side. So that's why I like using the blush balm. But what shall we apply next? I think we should go in with one of the Gucci blushes. And for a long time, I've been eyeing Rose Beige. I just didn't know how it would appear on my skin tone, if it would appear ashy or just kind of dull, because it is a desaturated like taupe rose. But what I do have, soft red. Ooh, soft red is one of my most favorite shades out of all the shades that I have in my blush collection. But my first shade that I purchased was Warm Berry. Warm Berry is one of my most favorite colors of all time. This is just one and done. And then we have Bright Coral. Bright Coral can be lovely on top of Sunkissed Seduction, right? If I wanted a little more color. I know we're like in the middle of winter, so maybe I'll just go in, you know what? I don't care. I'm going in with soft red. I don't care. And with my fan brush, no less, because we want to get really just in there. Woo-wee! I'm picking up a lot, and I'm just tossing it here. Also, like towards the center of the face and whipping it through. Oh my goodness. And I don't remember if I didn't even award a highlighter. My gosh. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with Izamea's Dazzle Up Stick, which I was going over the footage and how I was trying to describe this. It definitely feels more slick than a lot of highlighter sticks that I have in my collection. And with enough layering, you can detect more of like that gold, because there is gold pearl in here, right? Definitely, I think, different from the highlighter she released in her industrial collection before Wildstar. And on top of the Izamea, I could follow up with another powder blush, or powder highlighter, or I could go in with, let's see here, we got Auric on standby. I could follow up with their regular highlighter and not necessarily the Dew Beam, because I had mentioned in my original Wildstar video that the Dazzle Up serves as a nice base and set up for slightly drier textures where whatever you wish to apply on top will just melt instantly. And we're just gonna go right into the eyeshadow. And what I awarded in 2023 was Izamea's Industrial 2.0, and this went up against Byredo's Remembrance. It was a tough decision for me to make, much like last year where I was picking between Danessa's Lightwork 6 and Mineralscapes from Byredo, and Mineralscapes just came out on top because you just know why. And if you don't know, check out Best of Makeup, check out the Mineralscapes video, the several Mineralscapes video that I have on my channel. But what I wanted to set up Industrial 2.0 with was my off-white shadow stick in the shade, well, I don't know, no, excuse me, it's called the Imprint. That's the name of the product, but the shade is called Drill. It's like a warm brown, but I thought it would be a nice base just to start off these eye looks with. I think, however, there might be, there might be another shade that's cooler tone that won't influence the undertone of the other shades in Industrial 2.0. And this little guy, this is in the Hakuhodo brush, J122R. Ain't it cool? It's like a, well, I'm assuming just from the feel of it, it's a goat hair and synthetic mix, but it's like a small stippled wedge shadow brush that I feel fantastic for roles like this, where I'm blending out the entire crayon over my lid and through the crease. I'm just hitting the lids for now and leaving the lower lash line as is, because I don't need the same amount of coloring. But even just that, that's not bad. This is why I need to do more of these videos, because I have two of Lisa's, her new liquid shadows that are matte, and I forgot the shades that I have in my basket, but this is kind of the look that I assumed they would deliver and why I was just completely enchanted by them. But because I got the stick, I feel like I'm gonna be okay, you know what I mean? This hazy, warm brown, you know what I mean? Completely achievable with this product. But now going into industrial, so why I awarded this Best Eyeshadow Palette 2023 was just the variety of textures available to me, the array of shades, and just the different finishes at my disposal, where much like what I described, Light Scatters Multi-Chrome, our Millie and Cleona Cosmetics collab palette, how I explained that you could color block in the same way with Industrial 2.0 and what I like to do in that regard. So with that said, oh, so many brushes. Look at this Hakuhodo brush. It's like a mini version of the fan brush for the face. This, however, is going to plop on this like pastel shade, but on the inner corner. Ooh-wee! We're starting off strong. And having this base of color underneath just amplifies the finish of whatever shade you decide to apply on top. You could just leave it right, you just leave it like this. The look is done, is complete, but nonsense. We gotta keep going. We gotta go in. I think I would like to use, let me see here, this like fiery, it's a little flaky. But hopefully some adherence from that pencil will assist with the stick, if you will. And then I'm just using the tip of my Hakuhodo brush to just finesse the edges. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. Oh my goodness. This is so nice. Do I think this is better than the Wildstar palette? I have to do a side-by-side test of all the shades from each to decide what my answer is. What I like about Wildstar is that it does include those anchor matte shades just to help with shading and influencing the look to be not so colorful, but just to tone it. It helps guide the look a little bit if you're uncomfortable solely relying on these types of textures to create the look. Those shades will just kind of lead you into something you feel comfortable creating, right? Because once you got that shading down, it serves as a draft, if you will, for any color you wish to apply on top. But now I think we should follow up with another shade entirely for the lower lash line, and I'm picking up my eSun brush, the old, I don't know if they still have this, I feel like they do, the W21. This is a weasel brush, but it's nice and stiff and fantastic pickup capabilities for, you know, a tougher shade that's hard to get out from the pan. But I want to go in with this duochrome and slide it all the way into out. It's the classic maroon turquoise flip, or I guess teal flip is a better descriptor, duochrome, but I need a little more coloring, just need a little more. So I'm gonna go in with this shade here, which doesn't have the same finish. It's a little thicker, right? But I need just a touch more shading here for the bottom lash line. I also want to add an entirely different shade on the lower inner corner, and for that, I want to go in with this lavender pastel shade, which is the same consistency as that first chartreuse lime, something we applied on the inner corner first. It has like that fluorescent look to it. But these are my favorite, or one of my favorite moments, these topper shades. They're harder pressed in the pan, but on purpose, because it's like an overlay moment where if you wanted a little more twinkle, and I'm just tapping that, see what it does? It has like that wet glass effect That was the regular Disco Ball Fairy Dust shade. This one is like Fire Opal, where it has that teal flip, and I think a fitting pair on top of this coppery orange that we applied initially. So I just did one of each. And don't mind me, I'm just taking the first Hakuhodo brush and gently flicking the edges of the coppery fiery shade just so it could look a little more diffused. For the lips, I awarded Suqqu's lip wrapping treatment best lip product of 2023 because I thought it was just incredibly innovative to have a gloss product with conditioning properties where it didn't include the sting, make my lips bigger properties. I hate those, but just shine, silkiness, comfort, conditioning, all those. Which one should we apply though? The one I use religiously is 02. It's in the original Lime Up. It's just a typical caramel beige. You can't go wrong, the caramel beige. I feel like I need to apply something a little more pink. Maybe I'll go in with Fluotique. Or, yeah, I want to go in a little more Fluotique because I just need to balance out the center of my face a little bit. So I'm going in with Fluotique and in under the eyes. There we go. I felt there was something missing from that gradient. All right, let's apply some lashes and I'll be right back. And here is the finished look. That was a ball. I definitely have to film more of these videos, not just keeping it at the makeup, but brushes as well, revisiting old favorites, because brushes, unlike makeup, don't break down. And there's definitely a stronger incentive for me to buy more brushes than makeup because you can keep tools for as long as you take care of them, which I definitely have to improve the conditions of my storage for my brushes just to ensure that the bristles don't get bent or misshapen. Also, I keep those like dry silica packs that come in packages and I put those in my brush drawer for excess moisture that could develop, but usually my room is pretty dry, not keeping them in the bathroom. Obvious steps to take to ensure your tool's longevity. Unlike makeup, that breaks down, right? And someone brought up an interesting comment that I saw in another video, I can't recall, my apologies, where you can't collect things that go bad. Even though I say I collect Pat McGrath palettes, Natasha Denona palettes, the more correct statement is that I like to buy those palettes, and although I keep them, eventually I will have to get rid of them when they start to turn. Luckily, they have not yet, but that's what I keep in mind when I buy something, and try not to buy a lot of, because eventually it will meet its end, and it doesn't make sense for me to purchase so much of something that I cannot keep long term. I can keep long term nail polish. Nail polish does get goopy, but you can revitalize it with the thinner drops and such. But brushes for me are top of the list for something that you can collect, right? And there are brushes that I just don't even use because for me, they are immaculate and a tool for me to own and know that I have and that I love. And there are others that I use more frequently. They take on more of that workhorse role where I don't mind using them more often and washing them more often. But, you know, as an example, my holiday Hakuhodo set where I bought this years ago, this was one of my most cherished holiday sets from any brand that I purchased. And to know that I can go back in my collection and use them confidently, they don't got no mold on them or they don't go bad, right? I might have to wash them. That's the extent of it. And I will after this video. But these are just exceptional and definitely kind of lessens my inclination to buy the Wayne Goss brushes, right? I don't have to, but because I have similar shapes, they might not be the exact bristle ratio, but I'm fine with the fact that I have this brush and it's Hakuhodo, like, come on. But there are a few brushes from Bobo that I have my radar on. I need that Kolinsky Bishoto collab brush, that thick foundation brush. Oh my God. When that comes back in stock, I'm grabbing it. just no question. And even though I applied all these blushes, I just saw that YSL dropped their blushes on Sephora. I did buy 2. I bought the baby doll one. Let me check my order confirmation. Is baby doll pink, which I thought an interesting shade because it's like that pink lilac, and I wanted something I don't have in my collection. And of course I had to get 37 Peachy Nude, the terracotta. It was tough because the berry looked beautiful, the rose, the nude lavier, whatever they call it, that looked like a pretty shade. I wanted like opposite end of the spectrum shades just to start off with. And down the line, because you know Sephora is going to have another sale, or YSL might end up having a 30% off wide something maybe in the spring. They had it for Black Friday. Maybe they'll have something else next season. So that's why I don't want to go haywire right this minute, because I just applied a bunch of blush. I'll be okay. But I wanted those shades because I thought baby doll pink would be an interesting matchup with my complexion, and I just wanted to see and experience YSL's interpretation of terracotta because it's just how I am. I'm a sucker for terracotta anything. And Isamea's palette, Industrial 2.0, is sensational. What can I say? I can't get enough of it. And again, I might have to do a deeper dive video comparing Wildstar and Industrial 2.0. The Suqqu lip wrapping treatment, as much as I love this product, I definitely love the Suqqu Moisture Glaze more. Not because I think it's better, I just like the fact that it's a lipstick with a variety of colors. But what I do appreciate the wrapping lip treatment for is its ability to present a color that might initially look vibrant, but it kind of wears down to a softer delivery of color. It's odd, but that's why I love it, because for instance, let me just do this color here, which is on the brighter side, and I think this was from their summer collection. Initially it might appear orangey, but it settles into a softer version of this color. And why I appreciate the lip wrapping treatment, because the way it wears and also the softening effect it has on the lips without feeling sticky, overly glossy. It doesn't have that stinging, burning sensation with a lot of these lip products. It's virtually scentless. There's not even a no product scent for this, and why I had to award this in 2023 at the time. But you see how even the few seconds here as it wore, it's like, ooh, that's nice. And why I love it. Again, I'm partial to the Moisture Glaze because I absolutely adore that formula, but lip wrapping treatment might be one of my most favorite gloss formulas in my entire collection out of anything I've tried. And that's not saying much because I don't try a lot of lip glosses. So my experience is quite small in that respect. Is quite myopic, if you will, because I don't have a broad experience again with lip products in general. It's quite edited. But for me, lip wrapping treatment from Suqqu is one of their best lip products, and I think overall one of the best gloss performing lip products out there. Is not exclusively a gloss, because I think Suqqu does have a dedicated lip gloss product in their brand. The lip wrapping treatment, as the name implies, is a treatment as well, and it's just nice to have that conditioning kind of softened feel when you wear this. It's almost like a shiny lip cushion, almost, dare I say, bordering on a nice looking lip mask without feeling goopy. That's what this does. And that is it, family. Hopefully this video inspired you to revisit old favorites, not just from 2023, but maybe from last month, maybe from 6 months ago or a year ago, whatever the timeline is. I think it's important, especially for me, someone who is in this spot where they are bombarded with new makeup, and also because I know the algorithm loves new product reviews, where that's always the justification, right? Buy it, show it on YouTube, and, you know, make up for it with the AdSense. And sometimes I don't want to take that route all the time. And for me to constantly buy new makeup is me now having a place to store it, me now having to use it so it doesn't go bad and it just kind of sits there. I love buying makeup, but I also love buying makeup that I personally would like to try, like the YSL blushes, because I've had a good experience with YSL. The quads, the bronzer, and now we got the blush. Oh my heavens. And even with the Dior, where I started with like 5 products in my basket, whittled it down to 2. I think that's a far more reasonable take on that buy. And yeah, happy to share old favorites, and we'll do this again. Let me know. Maybe we'll do 2022. Let me know down below. And if you made it this far, make sure you like this video, click that thumbs up, and consider subscribing, especially now that we're venturing into old favorites, so that you know when that favorites from 2022 video drops, you'll get alerted immediately. And you gotta click that notification bell to make that happen. With that said, I'll see you down in the comments, and I'll see you on here next time.